I thought I had it all. The perfect relationship. The woman of my dreams. A future so bright. It was blinding. For 5 years, Sarah was my entire world. I poured everything into our relationship. My time, my energy, my heart, and yes, my finances. We lived in a beautiful apartment that I paid for. We drove a nice car, also on my D-May. We went on incredible vacations. Always my treat. I didn't mind. Seeing her happy was all the reward I needed. I truly believed we were building a life together, a partnership based on love and trust. Looking back now, I see how naive I was, how I willingly ignored the little red flags that popped up along the way. It started subtly. Late nights at work became more frequent, business trips that seemed to come out of nowhere. Her phone, which used to be an open book, was suddenly guarded like a national treasure. Always face down, always with her. When I'd asked, she'd have a perfectly plausible explanation. She was stressed with a big project. Her boss was demanding. She was just tired, and like a fool in love, I believed her. I'd rub her shoulders, run her a bath, and tell her everything would be okay. I wanted to be a rock, the one she could lean on. I never imagined she was leaning on someone else too. The little whispers of doubt started to get louder. A friend mentioned seeing her at a fancy restaurant downtown during one of her supposed late nights at the office, looking a little too cozy with a man who definitely wasn't me. I confronted her, heart pounding in my chest. She laughed it off. It was a client meeting, she said. My friend must have been mistaken. She turned it around on me, making me feel like I was the crazy, jealous one. Don't you trust me? She asked, her eyes welling up with fake tears. That was her magic trick. The tears. They worked every time. I'd end up apologizing, feeling guilty for even questioning her loyalty. But the seed of doubt had been planted, and it started to grow. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. My gut was screaming at me, even as my heart tried to silence it. The breaking point came on a Tuesday. I remember the day so clearly. I came home early from work, planning to surprise her with her favorite takeout. As I walked up to our apartment door, I heard voices from inside. A man's laugh. It wasn't a voice I recognized. My blood ran cold. For a moment, I just stood there, paralyzed. My mind raced, trying to find a rational explanation. Maybe it was the TV. A friend of hers I hadn't met. I took a deep breath and quietly unlocked the door. The sight that greeted me shattered my world into a million pieces. There she was, my Sarah, entangled on her sofa with another man. The sofa I bought, in the apartment I paid for. The betrayal was so profound, so absolute, it felt like a physical blow. I couldn't breathe. They hadn't heard me come in. I just stood in the doorway, invisible, watching the life I thought I had crumbled before my very eyes. All the sacrifices, all the love, all the trust it, all meant nothing. In that moment, something inside me snapped. The hurt was immense, a tidal wave of pain threatening to drown me. But beneath it, a different feeling began to surface. A cold, hard anger. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just quietly closed the door, the click echoing in the sudden silence of my mind. They still hadn't noticed. I walked away from that door, down the hallway, out of the building, and I didn't look back. I didn't go back for my clothes, my computer, my belongings. I just walked. I walked for hours, the city blurring around me. I gave her everything, and she gave me lies. The scales had fallen from my eyes. The game was over. But I wasn't going to be the loser. The next morning, the fog of shock started to clear, replaced by a steely resolve. I wasn't going to let her destroy me. I deserved better. My first call was to my landlord. I explained the situation, and since the lease was solely in my name and fully paid up by me for the next 2 months, I gave my official notice. I told him that I would be moving out immediately, but the lease was paid, so he wouldn't be losing any money. I specifically instructed him not to renew the lease with the current occupant, Sarah. My next call was to the bank. I froze our joint account, which, let's be honest, was 99% my money anyway. I then called the car finance company and arranged for the vehicle to be repossessed. Since the financing was in my name, It was a straightforward process. Then came the hardest part. Blocking her number, blocking her on every social media platform. It felt so final, like erasing 5 years of my life. She started blowing up my phone, of course. Voicemails filled with frantic questions, then fake concern, then angry accusations. Texts turned from "Where are you, baby?" to "You can't just disappear," to "How could you do this to me?" The irony was almost laughable. She was accusing me of doing what she had already done in the most deceitful way possible. I listened to one voicemail while she was crying, saying she was worried sick. The same fake tears she'd used to manipulate me for months. This time, they had no effect. I deleted them all without listening to the rest. A few days later, a friend who lived in our old building sent me a picture. It was a notice on the apartment door. The repossession company had come for the car, and the landlord had posted an eviction notice. The reality of her situation must have hit her like a ton of bricks. No home, no car, no access to the comfortable lifestyle she'd grown so accustomed to, and no me to fix it. She'd made her bed with someone else, and now she had to lie in it. Alone, you might be thinking this was a cold, calculated revenge, and maybe a part of it was. But it wasn't just about getting even. It was about self-preservation. It was about taking back my power. For years, I had allowed her to define my worth. My happiness was tied to her happiness. My success was measured by how well I could provide for her. By walking away and cutting all ties, I was reclaiming my life. I was choosing myself for the first time in a long time. It was a declaration that I would not be a victim. The weeks that followed were tough. I moved into a small, temporary apartment with just a suitcase of clothes I'd had at my parents' house. There were nights I'd stare at the ceiling, the pain and betrayal threatening to swallow me whole. I was grieving the future I thought I had, the person I thought she was. But with each passing day, I started to feel lighter. I started rediscovering who I was outside of that relationship. I reconnected with friends I'd neglected. I threw myself into my work, not to buy things, but for my own fulfillment. I started working out, channeling my anger and hurt into something productive. Slowly but surely, I was rebuilding, not the life I had before, but a new one, a better one, a life built on a foundation of self-respect and honesty. I learned a valuable lesson. You can give someone your love, your time, and your support, but you can't make them value it. You can't make them loyal. And when someone shows you who they truly are, you have to believe them the first time. Walking away was the hardest thing I've ever had to do, but it was also the most empowering. I didn't destroy her life. She did that all on her own by making choices that disrespected our entire relationship. I just refused to be the collateral damage. Today, my life is completely different. I'm in a new city with a new job I'm passionate about. I'm healthier, both mentally and physically, than I've ever been. I learned that my value isn't determined by what I can provide for someone else, but by who I am as a person. True strength isn't about seeking revenge. It's about having the courage to walk away from what's breaking you, even if you have to leave everything behind. I didn't get revenge by ruining her life. I got revenge by building a better one for myself. And that's a victory no one can ever take away from me. If you're going through something similar, know that you have the strength to walk away too. Choose yourself. It's the best decision you'll ever make. Thanks for listening.